and I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again.
Are you really gonna look at this cute face and not subscribe?
Well, hello, all of you string picking guys and gals out there. Welcome back to the String Pickers channel here at Obscene Studio. And if this is your first time here, like and subscribe, by the way. And today, String Pickers, look what we've got in the house. That's right, another instrument that I can't stand. String Pickers, you guys know from past videos that I cannot stand instruments with pointy little things like this right here on it. I just don't like them. I can set them down on styrofoam, paint just chips right off of them. However, my son has bought this guitar, a Jackson JS32. This is a Flying V. Bought it for $150.
I mean, really, how does he get so lucky?
I can't even find a neck for $150. I mean, this kid, it just falls on deals like this all the time. I don't get it. I have dealt with Jacksons in the past on this channel before. We had another Jackson JS32 arch top that was purple that happens to belong to my son's fiance, and I love that guitar, mainly because of the tone and the sound. This one, however, is the Flying V version, and it is a 7-string. 7-string. Count them with me. A 1, a 2. Now, I've owned 7-string instruments before, and I like 7-string instruments. I do. I think Schecter makes a really good 7-string guitar. I think that other Ibanez 7-strings are good instruments. I had an Ibanez 7-string at one time in my life. Absolutely loved it. Ended up trading it off, and that's kind of the one that got away that I wish I'd never got rid of. But this one was brought to me this morning by my son. This one is in rough shape, and not rough as in aesthetically. It is just needing a setup. That gum fretboard is dry as the Sahara Desert. So we're going to do some stuff to that. First,
We're gonna get weight.
thing about this guitar is when I picked this guitar up and he brought it over, it was surprisingly light, which I figured, you know, flying bee construction, usually not as much wood. However, wider neck because it's a 7-string. So I thought that at least it would probably weigh around 7.5 to 8 pounds, but it is lighter than that, I can tell. So we're going to get a weight on this thing. If I can ever get the stupid hook to hold on. And 6.88 pounds. That is lighter than I even thought it was. So 6.88 pounds. I've spent just a little bit of time with this guitar, playing it here and there. It needs a setup bad. Also needs a neck shim. And we're looking at millimeter wise on the top string at 2 millimeters on the top string, and the bottom string is at 1.5. Now on the E string, that we were looking at the B string on top, which I have tuned down to drop A because, well,
Metal.
the E string comes in between 2 and 2.5. So I've checked it out, and the only thing that I did to it was adjust the truss rod because the neck had a whole lot of relief in it. And I thought maybe that would be the only thing that I would have to do to this guitar. No. So I did get it from way above to like at 3 millimeters down to 2 on this top B string. But when I measure there at the 12th fret, we have 2 on the B string. If you come down here to the 24th fret and measure, it is at 3.25. Now, I did say that I adjusted the truss rod, and I did. This neck is flat with very, very little relief in it now. Exactly where it should be. But considering that from the 12th fret here to the 24th fret, it goes up another 1.25 millimeters, then that lets me know right off bat that this needs a neck shim. So I'm going to put a neck shim in this thing, and hopefully that will help it out. The saddles are raised way up. They are like way, way high. So I'm thinking that if I do shim the neck and just put like one piece of sandpaper in there, maybe that'll be enough to get it up high enough to where we have more of a level action across the fretboard as opposed to good action, good action, good action, good action, bad, 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 oh my God, action down here on the 24th. So we've got that to do to it. The tuners seem to be working just fine. They're not loose at all. They're just Jackson branded tuners, and they work really well. I have tuned this guitar up, and there's no play whatsoever in these. The strings are really good. The frets do not need a polishing at all. I've done the G string test plugged up earlier, and it does very, very good. I was just working that back and forth and deadening the 2 strings on either side. No sound come from it whatsoever. So that's good. I'm just going to take a polishing cloth and just wipe over them. We're going to put some Howard's feeding wax on the back of the neck and on the fretboard, and we're going to get that fretboard really good in condition. There is no fret sprout whatsoever on this guitar. I mean, these frets are really nicely done. So we're going to do that. We've got to adjust the pickup height on this guitar because they are almost bottomed out. And then I'm going to take the back plate off of this guitar, and we're going to look at the electronics on the inside and see what we can do about that. Other than that, this guitar is, I'd pay $150 all day long for this and then some. So I'm going to put this thing on the bench, and we're going to go through some stuff on this guitar and see if we can't get this thing set up for him to play, because he is absolutely in love with this thing. I've gotten away from 7-string guitars as of, well, it's been a few months now since I got rid of the double neck that I had, but that was a 7-string you couldn't really play. This one is a nice guitar. It plays really well. I've jammed on it a little, even with the action this high. It does fantastic. So I'm going to put you guys on the bench with me, and we are going to get this flying bee flying right out of the studio. Okay, guys, here we are on the bench. with the Jackson. We are going to, I really didn't want to, but I think that I am going to now, is just go ahead and loosen these strings and try to get some measurements on the neck and look at a couple of things on the guitar so that you guys will have well-informed review of this guitar. So let's get my trusty calipers out here. We're going to go through this thing and we're going to try and make this thing a little bit better. So to get that out, let's go ahead and loosen the strings. Got the strings loosened up, and a big shout out to John at Smoke Eater Guitars. Really loving the neck rest that you sent over here. It's absolutely awesome. It makes me feel like an idiot for using that other one that I used for so long. Let's go ahead and get our measurement on the nut. It's going to be a bit off to a lot of you out there because I know a lot of you play the 6 strings and everything much like I do, but I wanted to give you measurements on the 7-string neck. So, okay, and our nut measurement is going to be 48.15. Nut is 48.15. And previously in a video, I had someone ask about the depth at the nut on the first fret, the thickness of the neck. So on this one, it is going to be 21 even. 21 even here. So neck first is 21.00 millimeter up here too. And let's go to the 7th and see what that thickness is. The 7th is 22.26. So the 7th, 22.27. Well, I think that was 26. I moved too low. And at the 12th, we are looking at 21.38 at the 12th. It's kind of weird. Let me do the 7th again. Okay, that's what we got on that. I'm sorry I'm having to write this sideways, but that's just kind of how it goes whenever I'm doing writing like that. Got to come up with a better position on that. That's what it is there. Okay, so now we're going to look at the neck width. Since we've looked at the depth, we know what it is at the 1st. So let's come down here at the 7th, and 7th fret is going to be 55.37. And then down at the 12th, we're going to move these strings under, 59.34. And let's go straight to the bottom. We'll move the strings up on top so we can get that measurement. And we're looking at 65.81, and that is at the bottom. So let's look at our frets. Our fret width comes in at 289. Same there. So, and the fret height is going to be 1.53. Now I did do before measured, but I don't know. I wanted to measure for you guys, but this is a 25.5-inch scale on this guitar. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the neck off of this thing. And once I take the neck off, I'm going to shim the back of this neck so if we can get this to come up just a little bit. So for that, I am going to put you guys on a time lapse because we've all seen me shim these before. If you've not seen those videos, go back and watch those videos to show how I shim the neck on these things. This time, I think I'm only going to put a 1-ply, maybe a 2. I don't know. I may start with 2 and then may have to take it back down to 1. So just hang out with me. Let's go ahead and we'll do a time lapse on this thing. That way you guys don't have to sit through all the boring stuff.
We're breaking free. The black and pink will make a noise.
Okay, guys, we got the Howard's feed and wax. I just got to say, there's a reason why I don't own 7 strings anymore. And this is partially proof. I shimmed the neck, got the neck shimmed, had to readjust the truss rod. These saddles, some of these set screws are stripped out. They're going to have to be replaced at some point or another. I've got the action a hair above 1.5, so it's good to go. There's no fret buzz whatsoever. I did have to raise 1 or 2 saddles in order to get some fret buzz out of it, so I got that took care of, but it doesn't hurt the overall action of this guitar. These guitars are meant to be played hard anyway. I usually aim for 1.25 on the low E and 1.1 or 1 on the bottom high E, and just kind of keep them transitioning smoothly from that top to bottom all the way across. It has took some work. I found during the time lapse a raised fret, addressed that issue. It just basically was trying to back out. This fretboard has not had any kind of oil or anything on it in a long time, but while we're at it, I am going to do the infamous sock test and show you guys the fret ends on this guitar. Now the fret ends look like they look like they've come stock like this. It doesn't look like anybody has tried to do anything with the fret ends. So, and they feel real nice all the way up the board. So let's try the sock test. Well, it is barely grabbing. Nah, nothing there. I would give that probably, I'd give that a 9 out of 10. There's grabbing there a little bit, and I would probably give that about an 8 out of 10. But you can't feel it with your fingers. So the infamous sock test is the way to go whenever you're checking these. Thanks again to Philip McKnight, who started doing that. I don't know when, but first time I ever saw him do it, I thought,
There's an idea.
so we've got the Howard's feed and wax on there. It soaked that orange oil up like almost immediately, so I left it on there for a while, then come back, went ahead and went over this and wiped it all in. I have to say it looks 100% better. These frets look great. I'm really impressed with, I mean, it really looks like this guy had got this guitar and had bought it probably secondhand and just put it up and didn't play it that much, and it just needed a little bit of TLC and proper setup. There was a ton of relief in this neck when he brought it to me, and off camera, before I even shot this video, I thought I am going to adjust that truss rod and see, because we were looking at 2.75 on the low E string, and on the high E string we were above, a hair above 2, I think. I can't remember the numbers. But anyway, we've got that issue resolved. We've got the truss rod issue resolved. We're going to look at the output of these pickups. Yeah, that's what I thought. 15.82 on the bridge, and middle position is going to be 5.46, and neck position is going to be 8.17. The bridge is pretty hot, and I knew from the sound of it that they had to be above 14. I just didn't know how much. But the thing about Jackson branded pickups is a lot of them are like that in the Jackson guitars that they have, no matter what body style. Usually their 6 and 7 string bridge pickups are anywhere between 14 and 16, around that area, which for a guy like me that likes, screaming leads and metal and all that stuff, then, I'm not saying that's the only genre of music that I like. I'm saying that if you want that real good articulation and you want to grab them pinch harmonics every now and again, then that's the way to go. I mean, it's having a hot pickup like that allows you to do so with ease. So let's see what we can do here. We are going to take off the back plate real quick, and I am going to, this neck, I thought about putting some Howards on this neck, but it's got a real nice satin finish, so I'm not really going to touch that. However, I am going to look at these pickups and the pots to see. I'm almost willing to bet that these pickups are just 2-wire. Not sure, but we'll find out. Okay, let me get you guys down here. Pickup cavity looks okay. I mean, tone does okay on this one, so I didn't think that we would have to do much with the tone capacitor, so I left it alone. I don't want to start getting into this thing and gutting a bunch of stuff. There is our 3-way there. Volume pot is also a dime size pot. And let's see here. And it looks like our typical 2-wire pickup. So, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, there's just no ability to coil split on this, so that's not a bad thing at all. We don't have to worry about that. It sounds good enough on its own, and plus the neck pickup is a lot lower in resistance, and it sounds really good for clean tone. So we're not going to bother with anything like that. We're just going to leave everything here just like it is. So let's go ahead and put this back together. It is shielded, and let's go ahead and get these screws back in. So yeah, we got that back together. Give him this little cheap strap, because I told him, I said, this is going to be hard to hold on to. So I'll give you a little cheap strap for now, because I know what's going to happen. The same thing that would happen if I owned it. And that is basically he is going to end up letting this thing slide off his lap and busting off one of these corners down here. But as far as I'm concerned, $150, man, you just can't go wrong for that. $150. I did adjust the height of this pickup back here. It was a little down. It's still a little down where it should be, but being that hot, I think I'll leave it where it's at. The neck pickup is okay where it's at as well, so I'm not going to bother it either. It sounds really good. I did end up putting 2 layers of shims on the neck in order to get it to just about that was at the right height where this should have been. I don't know if the guy that had this before was just liked high action and he beat the strings to death. I don't know. But with my son, I think it's just going to make it easier for him to play if he doesn't have to fight the strings to get them to go down to the frets. Let's move to some playing here and some thoughts and opinions. Well, I have to say, I'm glad this one is over. I think in the future, when we change the strings, that I am going to go ahead and get him some roller saddles, possibly, to go on this, because this, I think it just needs a little bit of help in that area. And I think that it needs a little bit of help straightening out some of the issues. But with so far, I mean, it's not a bad guitar. $150, I'd buy it all day long. I mean, this is nice. So let's go into the tone test. We are on what my rig, which is called Casey's Clean. So let's try that out. Let's start in the neck position. Middle position. And bridge position. Okay, and now let's try some distortion. We're going to go with an overdrive first. Middle position. Neck position. Okay, now let's go to distortion. Let's go in the middle position. Go into the neck position. So yeah, it's got what it takes. This thing is just a metal machine, and it's going to be right up his alley. I like something a little more practical than this. I don't care about the flying V's unless they're kind of rounded back here. I like the rounded ones. These, I'm just, if he doesn't come get this in a day or two, I'll have it destroyed. I'm just going to have to hang it on the wall or something. I don't know. But I mean, it's right up his alley. This is a good guitar for him because he's into stuff like this. So I'll tell you what, let's throw in some a drum machine riff on this thing. Well, string pickers, that's it for the Jackson Flying V guitar. I'm going to let it fly on out of here. This guitar is 150 bucks. I mean, you can't go wrong. You know, I'm whatever these are going for new price, I wouldn't spend the money. I really wouldn't. I think that for 150 bucks, just for the hardware alone, just for the pickups and the tuners, the neck is just like, I mean, it's wide but it's thin. It's comfortable except for this, but that's personal preference. That's just me. That's got nothing to do with anybody else out there that happens to like flying V's or the offset V's, whatever. I am a huge Scott Ian fan, Randy Rhoads fan. All those guys that play flying V's that can make it work, they're awesome. I can't do it, and especially a 7 string. It's been so long, so I probably, if I've messed up, I apologize. It's, you have to get used to this big fat string on top. and chord placement kind of throws you off, because you keep trying to go to the top string when you should go to the one under it. I played 7-string before, and I like 7-string guitars, but they're just not something I use all the time. I think that if I ever go back to something that's extended range, that I'm just going to go to a 6-string baritone. So, but as far as my ratings for this, at normal price, I would say 3 stars is what I would say, because of basically just the aesthetics. It got nothing to do with the sound or the playability. It's just the design of the guitar. At $150, my ratings would be 4.2, because I could learn to live with this right here if I could find one of these in this kind of condition for $150. I did have to do a little bit to it, did have to lower the strings, adjust the truss rod. We put some Howard's feeding wax on it, adjusted the height on the pickups. I did have to raise 1 or 2 of these. Once I shimmed that neck, it got a little bit of buzz to it. So I did have to raise 1 or 2 saddles just a little, get that buzz to come out of it. But yeah, it still needs some stuff done to it. And I'm sure that I'll get the opportunity, because when he comes over here and he brings this thing, I'm probably going to be working on it. So, but guys, that is all that I have for you today. I hope that video was good enough. Was it good enough?
Was it good enough?
But I am going to close this one out, and I would like to say to all of you that I have a series of videos coming up. It may not be for another week or so, but I am going to do my guitar collection in 2026. It is now after the new year, 2026. We are looking at all different stuff that I had from last year in my guitar collection 2025. Plus, I'm going to go through some gear with that, walk you guys through it. But I think to better explain the stories behind the guitars and the guitars themselves, I'm going to have to pop it into like a 2, maybe 3-part series. And I know last year it was kind of funny because I done all of it in one video. Well, it only had like 6 guitars at that time, and I've got 14 now. So, there's a lot. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I just would like to say that I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you had the most blessed day ever, and I pray that God is with you all. Until next time, later.